So let's address what went wrong in the last video, workshop safety, and where I went wrong so you don't make the same mistakes. So in the last video, I was cutting panels for the planter using the crosscut sled, which left a piece of wood on that side of the table saw, blade spinning. Now, what I should have done is the fence should have been completely removed. Then if I'd have removed the fence, this piece of wood could have come away from the blade and back that way. But because I haven't got a lot of room, I always leave the fence on the machine with a gap. And I've got my own rule, which is I push through, I walk round the back of the camera, and I take away from behind. Now, on that day, I'd become complacent, my mind was on other things, and I'd started to pull back for speed and placing down here. I shouldn't have done that. Woodworking machinery is still one of the highest rates of injury in the profession around machinery. I put that rule in place for a reason, and that's because of the space being tight, and I need to keep to it. So, my own stupid mistake. Fortunately, I got away with it, but equally, I've got to appreciate that that could have been a lot worse. So that was mistake number one, and how I had rectified it, broke my own rule, and going forward, I'll continue to push through and take from behind the blade. The second mistake that I demonstrated, falling down the side of the blade, and you saw pieces hanging up like that. Now, at the time I had the incident, I genuinely didn't know what had gone wrong. I didn't know what I'd done wrong, and I've watched the footage back numerous times. So I was set up cutting 45 degrees, again for demonstration. And because I was conscious of the wood going down, I swapped out the throat plate for my zero insert plate. Now this insert plate, you can see where the damage occurred when I had the incident, but that did used to just clear the blade. So that was in like so. Now at the time of the incident, I was sneaking up on cuts. So I was leaving slithers of material here. And that is what got pulled into the blade, trapped between the two, flung the whole lot off. And that was the dramatic incident that we saw. Now there was two things wrong with that. This zero insert had become slightly worn, so you shouldn't be able to get anything between the blade. You can hear that there's actually some damage there between the blade and the throat plate. So we need to make a new one of these and cut it to this blade. The other thing that was wrong was this blade is a new blade, and it was slightly thinner than the blade that I made the zero insert with. So again, introducing a gap. So we need to manufacture a new one of these and maybe try and improve the design slightly. The old one has clips that press in, but you can see it's become brittle. That one's broken off, and that one's done it on the opposite side. Fortunate that it's on the opposite side, because that will still clip in and hold, although you can see there's a little bit of play. So let's make a new zero insert and let's see if we can improve on the design. So it's just over 6, so we're looking for 6mm ply ideally. So I'm just going to use the O throat plate to set the width slightly bigger so that I can make a nice tight fit for the opening where the throat plate sits. This is a piece of scrap 6mm or 1/4 of an inch plywood that I'm going to make a couple of blanks for 2 throat plates. One hopefully I get right first time, but if not I've got a second piece ready to go. So now I'm just using the old throat plate to check that I can get 2 pieces out of the length I've just cut, and then I will cut with a handsaw just because it's quicker than setting the table saw up. And now I'm just checking the fit in the opening in the table saw, making sure that it's nice and tight, both length and width, and just checking both pieces. And here I'm just using the old throat plate to mark the finger access hole so that I can get the plates out once they're inserted, and then I'll use the hole I've cut to mark out the second one as well. And you will see here I cut from both sides so I don't splinter the back of the material when I go through. So I'll mark, cut from one side and then the other. So on this record power machine there are 6 landing or location recesses. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and improve the throat plate by making one of the landing recesses a clip so that it can't come out easily in the future, hopefully making it a little bit safer when I use it. So I'm just going to go from the underside now and mark those 6 recesses on the piece of ply so that I know what I'm aiming for. So I'm going to use these U-clips, the quick release U-clips that I'm going to modify and turn into a recessed bracket that sits on the back of the throat plate to allow me to slide it out and securely fasten it when I push it back into the table saw. I must apologise for the camera lead blocking or obscuring your view in this shot. I'm just marking out where to put the recess on the back of the plate for the clip to sit into. And now just removing the excess material from the back of the clip. So 2 methods of holding this in place. I'm going to go for CA glue and a screw as a belt and brace backup option. Put it through because the screw is now fouling and impeding the throat plate from going into place. So I'm going to have to take it out, remove it, and I'm going to go for a nail that I'm going to use as a pin into the material and then secure this in place with some CA glue, and then I'll come back and put some epoxy on it at a later date. Once the glue is set, I'll clip off the excess with a pair of wire cutters. And now coming back and just checking the fit, that's a really now positive fit on the back of the throat plate. And I'm going to use 2 magnets, secured in place again by some epoxy, just to hold the front of the throat plate down. And here we are from the underside of the machine looking up. I'm just marking out where to put the recesses in the throat plate for the 2 magnets that I'll secure in place with some epoxy. I'm thinking. It's 29.5. So now I'm going to use this spade bit off camera just to cut some recesses in the underside of the throat plate to accept the magnets, and then I epoxy them in place. The next day, this is the next day, I come back and I move the saw fence halfway across the throat plate to give it some positive downward pressure, and I slowly raise the blade. I do this in 2 stages. I stop, I check, and then I come back and I put the blade to its maximum position. And now a quick tidy up in place by using the sander just to make everything smooth before applying some wax to make everything run across it smoothly. Both sides, just to make sure there's no rough edges, and tidy everything up. And now for a quick test. This is a piece of acrylic. This is coming up in a future video. This is a good test to make sure that nothing's getting pulled down the side of the blade and that I'm happy with the throat plate. I won't make the other throat plate. I will keep that blank to one side, ready for when I need to replace this one in the future. Really pleased with how the clippers worked and the magnets. They really are holding this securely. So if you haven't seen the previous video, here's the thumbnail for it. Go find it, go check it out. This is where all the issues happened that hopefully I've addressed during this video. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you feel I've missed or I could improve on. Always happy to learn. Thanks for watching.